Eurovision came really close to destruction in 2025, and I think we had a very near miss. Hello, my name's ESC Adam. Welcome back to another video, back fresh from Basel. Me and Becca had a great time over there. In fact, you're going to be seeing a video, hopefully in the near future, a little vlog style video on our trip over there. But today I wanted to talk about the overall results of the contest this year and some of the quite shocking things that came through. So we have on screen here the scores. This is courtesy of Eurovision World, a great website, a great resource for all things facts and figures to do with Eurovision. This was the final scoreboard the night of the grand final, the 26 countries that took part, and you can see below the 11 unfortunates who weren't able to take part because they didn't qualify. They of course could still vote, as well as the rest of the world vote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from lowest and go upwards. So we're going to start with who came in 26th place, and that was poor old San Marino. Oh dear, with 27 points. What happened here, man? Listen, I mean, look, they got 12 points in the public from Italy. No great surprise there, considering your song is a love letter to Italy. 6 from the jury there as well. You got 1 from the Cyprus jury, 2 from the Albanian jury, 3 from the public there as well, and 3 from the Maltese public. The thing about San Marino's song is I think they're just buzzing that they qualified. They've only qualified a small handful of times in all the years they've taken part. And for such a small nation, that is a big honour to have as well. I think some people thought maybe because Gabri Ponte was doing the song and it had so much buzz in the Italian circles after being like the theme song for Sanremo and all that sort of stuff, that this might have done better. And I think with his name, sort of the star power he has, especially in like the Italian markets, I think I expected this song to do a little bit better than last place, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't really think if this did qualify to the final that this would go any higher than, say, the 20s. That's not to discredit the song, it is fun, but I think it works best in a live setting when you're in the room. When me and Becca saw the rehearsal for this, it was absolutely great. It really elevated our opinions of it. I think watching it on the telly doesn't really hit the same mark, and I think some factors as well, like the singers were masked. I know that's for their privacy, but I don't think that may have resonated too well with some crowds. So sad that it's come last, not where I would have wanted it, but 27 points. Hey, San Marino, you qualified. Please stay next year. Please don't take this as a reason to bow out now. Please stay. Moving on to 25th, then we have Iceland. We have Vibe with their song Rower. These poor lads, man. 25th place, 33 points total. Absolutely shafted by the jury. The only country to get absolutely nothing from the juries. That was a big shame, but I think we all knew they would scrape up some points from the public. They got 1 from Austria, 1 from Germany, 1 from Croatia, 1 from Slovenia, 3 from Norway, 5 from Estonia, 5 from Sweden as well, and 6 from Finland, but their biggest support came from their Nordic neighbours in Denmark, who gave them 10. Now, these boys are absolutely a great time. They're really great fun. Definitely the Jedward vibe in terms of energy. Why didn't this song resonate as well? I mean, just to be purely analytical about it, whilst they gave a great performance, like filled with energy and stuff, I think vocally it was a little bit all over the place for me, personally. And that's fine, there were a few songs this year that aren't exactly all there vocally, but to get nothing from the juries is really harsh. I didn't think it'd score well with them, but to get nothing is brutal. To get 33 from the public is decent. Again, it saved them from last place, something I think they're very happy about. I did think this would soak up a few more public votes. You might hear me saying that about a few songs today, that I think some of the entries here I expected a bit more from in terms of public support, but 25th for Iceland, I mean, it's better than last year where they didn't even qualify. Next up, 24th, we have Spain with 37 points. What does Spain have to do, man? Honestly, year after year, they keep getting shafted. They send something really artistic, like in 2023, that gets shafted. They send like really fun camp pop last year, that got shafted. And this, which you could argue is more of like that mainstream pop style, also gets shafted. What do they have to do? What does Spain have to do? Every song that it can't all be Chanel, guys. It can't all be slow-mo, and that's overrated as it is. So 24th place, place. In terms of the jury, they got 27 points, their highest being from Albania, who gave them 10. In terms of the public, they only got 10 points, which is astounding to me. I mean, 6 from Portugal, that sort of makes sense, you know, your immediate neighbors there. They did get 3 from the rest of the world, so that's nice to see. There is a big market for Spanish music around the world. But honestly, 37 points for Melody was way below my expectations. I thought this was a great bit of pop. It was well performed. She was very consistent vocally. She was one of the most consistent vocalists throughout this competition, both in the pre-parties, both in the rehearsals and the live shows. She just nailed it every single time. Maybe it was its place in the running order. I'm not really that sure, but I just feel bad for Spain, man. Being a Big Five country doesn't mean you should get high placements all the time, but I feel this song deserved a higher place. I felt it deserved left side of the board at the very least. I mean, you put in a powerhouse performance, a great vocal. What was it about this song that didn't click? I feel for Spain. I feel for Melody. I know we've been saying it a while now. Hopefully next year will be better. The Spaniards often produce some great tunes for Eurovision, but once again this year, it seems like it wasn't to be. Next up then, in 23rd, we have mine and Becca's personal hero this year. We have Denmark, Sissal and Hallucination. This song deserved so much more. I wouldn't even know where to begin, but 47 points. It mostly got its points from the juries. You can see here it picked up a few from different nations. 7 from Italy, 8 from Austria, 10 from us here in the UK. See, told you we have good taste. And 10 from the Georgian jury as well. But in the public, it only got 2 votes, and they came from their neighbors over in Iceland. But honestly, 2? This song deserved way more than 2 points from the public. Sissal has been an absolute champion for the contest this year, not just for the Denmark, not just for the Faroe Islands, but just as like a brand ambassador in general. She's great. Again, sort of like Melody for Spain, Sissal has been one of the most consistent performers for me. Like, again, from pre-parties, rehearsals, live shows, her vocals were on point. She absolutely smashed it on the night of the final. And whilst the staging might not have been like what we all may have wanted or absolutely perfect, you've got to remember, Denmark sends their entries with about a budget of, you know, about £5 here in the UK. She made the absolute best with what she had. And again, vocally and as a song, you could argue it's mainstream pop, but it's mainstream pop done well. This wasn't even anticipated to qualify. Down here this low, again, bit of a shock, but I don't think the Danish or Sissal are too bothered because in their mind, they broke their non-qualification streak of 5 years. That is something to be applauded, absolutely. And here's hoping it continues going on to next year. In 22nd then, also with 47 points, is Luxembourg. You might think, well, why are they higher than Denmark? They tend to go off whoever gets more public votes. In a tie situation, that's who goes higher. In this case, Luxembourg had more. They had 24 from the public, the highest ones being 8 from Albania, 8 from Montenegro as well. In terms of the jury, they actually scored slightly worse, just by 1 point worse with the jury. We gave them 4 here from the UK, and they also got 6 from the Netherlands. This song, I think, surprised a few people in how it maybe didn't climb higher. It did get the dreaded second place spot in the grand final, which is a long cursed spot. No one really wants to be there. But maybe, I think some people thought now that you can vote from the very start of proceedings that would be nullified somewhat. Of course, Ukraine last year went second and they got over like 300 points. But no, something about this song just didn't resonate. And this song really grew on me. I thought the package presented at the live shows was actually really good. I'd argue Laura's performance, from what me and Becca saw in the semi-dress rehearsal and then the semi-final itself, was a lot stronger than what we heard at the final. Now, this could have been down to many things. This could have been down to nerves, down to vocals being tired because they have to rehearse relentlessly until the final. But I did think this deserved a bit more than 22nd place. And considering at the start of this season I wasn't vibing with this song at all, that's saying something for me. This is obviously worse result for Luxembourg compared to last year where they came 13th. We're down 9 places. I really hope this doesn't impact their participation because after 30 years without them, I'd love them to stay. I think the broadcaster has already said it kind of depends on financial backing and also a bit of political backing from the local government as well. So fingers crossed we'll see Luxembourg in Austria next year. Next up in 21st place with 50 points, we have Portugal. This was Napa with Deslocado. Talk about one of the underdogs this year. 21st place for them, which again is better than maybe I think a lot of people expected. 13 points they got from the public, just 13. The highest, in fact, all their points from the public, 5 from France and 8 from Luxembourg. In terms of the juries, it was a bit better. They got 37 points there. The highest ones coming, let's see, 6 from Azerbaijan, 6 from Lithuania and San Marino, and 7 from the Netherlands. This song was obviously really low in the odds to qualify from the first place. It did. It was touted to do really badly in the final, and it's not come last. A lot of people had this down at being last or second to last. It somehow managed to gain 21st place with 50 points, and I think it just reinforces that sometimes really simple songs, even songs in a language that might not be native to you or you don't understand, can have such a power and such a draw at Eurovision. If you look into the meaning behind this song, which we'll talk about more when I do a full ranking video of this season, which is coming, by the way, I think it really spoke to more people than anticipated. And I think considering they were at odds not even to qualify for the final, I think Portuguese fans and Napa will be happy with this result. This is about where I would have expected them to come. I didn't think they were going to come dead last. I just had a hunch in my gut that that wouldn't happen, but about here is probably right. Okay, moving on to 20th with 72 points is Armenia. Oh, Parg, the little Parg that could. I think this song has honestly outperformed a lot of expectations that fans put on this. We got 30 from the public, 42 from the jury. Whoever would have thought that Survivor by Parg will get more jury votes than the public? Specifically, the big shock, it got 12 points, the maximum score, from Malta. So I bet they're really happy with the Maltese jury there. I mean, from the public as well, it got the maximum 12 from Georgia. This song has sort of connected with a lot more people than I certainly thought. When I first heard this, I sort of wrote it off a bit. I didn't think the performance at the national final for Armenia was particularly good. But to give credit to Parg, the staging at Eurovision and the improvement of his general performance really connected with me and Becca, and it's actually become one of our guilty pleasures or fan favorites, to put it that way. So I've got to give credit where credit is due. Nice one to Parg, 72 points. I mean, again, he was one where people thought he wouldn't even qualify for the final, and he did. About 20th place for this song, you could say. Some would say that is about right, maybe. I mean, if it got any higher, that would really shock people. But no, I mean, fair play to Parg. You've outperformed expectations, my friend. In 19th, then, with 88th place, here we go. It's us. It's the United Kingdom. Woo, woo, yeah. Predictably, we got absolutely nothing from the public. All of our 88 points came from the jury. We managed to get a few 10s in there, 10 from Czechia, 10 from Ukraine, but the biggest shock was 12 points from Italy, of course, given out by little Topo Gigio himself.
Our 12 cheesy points go to United Kingdom!
The United Kingdom, 12 points!
The fact we got this many points, I'm happy with to begin with. The fact we got a 12 from the juries, even better. I mean, remember Monday vocally are just top. You know, their harmonies, the way they intersect with each other. I think vocally they were always going to score well with the juries. It's just the song, man. The song was arguably never the best song in the world to send forward, but I think the girls did an absolutely fab job representing us. And again, their vocals unmatched. So 88 points, absolutely deserved. But come on, public. We didn't even deserve 1 point. Maybe they all do hate us. In 18th place, pipping us by just 1 point, is Norway. Kyle Alessandro and his song Lighter. Now, in terms of points, he got 89. 67 of them came from the public. Only 22 from the jury. Juries didn't really seem to rate this that highly. The best ones were 6 from the Czechia jury, 6 from their neighbours in Iceland. But then in terms of the public, they performed a whole lot better. 8 from Iceland, 10 from Ukraine, and picking up a whole load of little points here and there from other nations as well. Kyle always had a good sort of standing amongst Eurofans. He was really fun. His performance is really energetic. I think he's come a long way since the Norwegian national final. Absolutely. He's certainly come a long way from there. The performance on the night of the grand final, vocally, it was a bit pitchy here and there, but I mean, going first when you're 19 years old, nerves, I can imagine. Again, bit of vocal exhaustion maybe from all the rehearsals, but on the whole, the performance was still very solid. Having this do better with the public than the jury is something I expected. I think this kind of pop song from a very young artist is going to do much better with the public than a professional jury. But, you know, he still got points, enough to beat us, mind you, by 1 point. A lot of Euro fans had this in their top 10. I didn't think it was ever going to reach those heights. I did think it may have scraped into the left side of the board. So 18th place is a bit lower than I expected. In 17th place with 91, this was a big shock of the night. It's Malta. Mariana Kante with Serving. When this song dropped in its original form, the sort of, you know, quote-unquote controversy, the way the fans loved it and picked up on it. And don't get me wrong, she's great as a ambassador for Malta and Eurovision generally. Mariana was top-notch. But I think something changed with the Eurovision performances that brought it down a bit. I think the initial controversy, if you like, of the original had sort of died down a bit. General audiences, if they weren't following along with this, they'd have no idea what was so controversial about this in the first place. I think changing the performance, the stage felt a bit too crowded. There was a bit too much going on. The change from the Maltese final, where it starts out like The Sound of Music to reveal the diva personality, that was sort of lost, which I thought was a bit of a shame. And most of Malta's points came from the jury, surprisingly. I don't think anyone could have predicted that. In terms of the jury, they got 8 from Australia, 7 from us here in the UK, 8 from Germany, 7 from Finland, 8 from Israel, and the most was 10 from Austria. And in terms of the public, this fan favourite only got 8 points from the public. I'll say that again. It only got 8 points. That was way lower than anyone, and I mean anyone, could have predicted. In terms of those 8 points and where they came from, we gave them 1 here from the UK, 1 from Azerbaijan, 1 from Serbia, but the most came from Australia, who gave them 5. Now, like I said, this was way below expectation, and I think it just goes to serve the theory that those of us in the Euro bubble, those of us who love Eurovision, who follow it to this extent, aren't always in alignment with the general public. I know audiences, my parents for example, who watched Serving and didn't really see the big deal. Other people I know who are more general watchers of Eurovision, they're not big like Euro fans as such, they watched it, didn't really see what the big deal was. So that disconnect between Euro fans and the general public is way and truly an example here, and it's not the last time you're going to see it either. Next up then, in 16th place, just missing out on 100 points, is Lithuania Catharsis with Tavo Akis. Now, this was, I hoped, would be a dark horse to crack the top 10. It was a very unique song this year. There wasn't really any other song like it, and I'll explain about it more when I do my full ranking of the season, but by God, when seeing this live, this did things to me, man. But in terms of points, 96, where did they come from? 34 from the jury, 62 from the public. In terms of the jury, let's see here. Here in the UK, we gave them 6. We clearly recognise good taste when we see it. 6 from Poland as well. 7 from Latvia. And the public is where this really stood out. It got nearly double the points from the public. The biggest scores there coming, there's Georgia gave them 6th. Ireland gave them 8th. Ukraine gave them the maximum of 12. And I'm just glad to see that a song like this did do decently. It's not left side of the board, unfortunately. I really was rooting for this song to come left side of the board, but I hope this doesn't discourage either Lithuania or other countries as well from sending songs like Tavoakis. Even though Eurovision is a big party and it's fun and all this sort of stuff, sometimes we need a bit of the darkness or the moodiness to counterbalance that. So 16th place for Lithuania, not too bad. Was hoping for better, but not too bad all the same. In 15th then, way over 100, 151 points, it's Germany, another one of the big 5. Now, Bala, no matter what you think of it, had insane fan hype. People were bigging this up. There were the questions about Tina's vocal. I think on the night she did really well. Still not exactly perfect in my opinion, but they did really well all the same. 151 points for Germany, near the middle of the board, just missing out on the left side. 74 from the public, but 77 from the jury. Again, this was one of the big surprises. I don't think anyone would have predicted that this song would receive more points from the juries than the public. In terms of the juries, it got 10s from Serbia, it got 10s from Israel as well, but it did get some top marks. In terms of the jury, it got 12 from Ukraine, and it also got 12 from Czechia. Top marks from the juries for Bala is something I was surprised by. Didn't think it was undeserved. I think they absolutely deserve it for all their credit. In terms of the public looking at this as well, there's a lot of ones from the public, the lower numbers starting there, but they do start to pick up. Namely, though, they got 12, the maximum from Austria. Now, of course, they are neighbours. That might have something to do with that. Also, the fact that AdamMartynA, I believe, are Austrian themselves as well, so there's a big love and support for them. Bit of a shock, though, that the Austrian juries didn't give them anything. It was all up to the public. I think some fans are a bit disappointed that this didn't do higher, that this didn't crack top 10, but 15th place for me, personally, that's about where I'd put this song. 14th then, with 156 points, is Poland, Justina, with her song Gaia. Now, this for me, I think, was an absolute robbery. It did do well with the public. It got 139 points with the public, a really decent score. But with the juries, it only got 17. How on earth you can rank this song 17 points based on the staging, the vocals that Justina was able to maintain, the whole package, as it were? Insane. In terms of what the juries did give, I mean, not many, obviously. 2 from the Belgian jury, 1 from Israel, 2 from Estonia, 4 from Azerbaijan, 5 from Australia, 1 from France, 2 from Germany. Okay, so smatterings here and there, but I mean, what a robbery. And even with the massive public vote, this was only enough to put Justina in 14th place. Top of the right side of the board, but this absolutely deserved left side, and in my view, it definitely deserved a top 10 finish. So this was one of my first major disappointments of the night, I won't lie to you, but Justina absolutely did herself proud, and I think most of us fans can agree she did herself proud too. Moving on to the left side then, so in 13th place, beating out Justina by just 2 points, is Latvia. And I think Latvia is like the wholesome success story of this season. No one was ever doubting the quality or the talent or the prowess of Tautamatus. No one was doubting that whatsoever. But I think for them to do this well surprised all of us. 42 points from the public is all right. I think that's about where people predicted it'd get. But with the juries, 116 points. They're recognizing that talent, man. Absolutely recognizing it. And they did manage to get a few 12s as well, which I think surprised a few people. They scored 12 from Latvia. Some would say that's no big surprise. That is one of their immediate neighbours. But they also scored 12 from Denmark and 12 from us here at the UK. And I'm really happy personally to see UK juries recognizing unique talent when it's there, unique songs, because there's nothing like Burman Laimi in the competition this year. Absolutely nothing. And I'm so glad that Tautamatus got that recognition from the juries. In terms of the public, again, smatterings here and there. Their biggest, 12 from Lithuania, so both sides of Lithuania gave Latvia 12 again, immediate neighbour, share a lot of similar culture, but hey, that's great. Here in the UK, we only gave them 3. In terms of the public vote, Ukraine gave them 8, as did Estonia, their other immediate neighbour. So a left side of the board finish for Latvia is wonderful. Not only have they continued their qualification streak, but they've instantly improved their performance from last year. And I really hope this sends an encouraging message, not just to Latvia, but many countries. You can send songs in your own language that are intrinsically based in like the folk and the history of your country, and it will actually do well at Eurovision, particularly with audiences you'd never expect. I would have never predicted the United Kingdom giving this song from Latvia 12 points from the jury. Never in a million years. Next up then, in 12th place, it is the Netherlands, who scored 175 points. Now, this one was another shock of the night. This had been touted by the odds, by fans to do really well. An easy top 10 placement, a lot of people said. In the end, it scored 133 from the jury, which is a very decent score to get from them. It was the public, though, where they expected to clear up the most, and they only managed 42 points from the public. One of the biggest shocks of the night. So shocking, in fact, you can even see it on Cloud's face.
42 points.
So let's just break this down. I mean, in terms of the jury, again, really good scores from a lot of countries. No 12s for them, but they did get a few 8s. Cyprus, Lithuania giving them 8s. 10s, Spain giving them 10. Ireland giving them 10. Poland offering a 10 as well. And Iceland. But nothing for a 12. And in terms of the public, we don't see any 12s, unfortunately, here. We see a 6 from Greece, a 6 from Iceland, 5 from Belgium, but no big scores, no 12s. Again, is this a case of the ESC bubble not connecting with the general audience? There have been some people saying that is this more of a race thing, that if you look back in recent years, acts that are black don't tend to do as well in public votes compared to others. You can lean into that, you can analyze that theory more. I'm not going to delve into it here, but maybe that is cause for discussion. Maybe that needs to be looked at. The song itself for me didn't connect as much as it did other people. I thought it was very heartfelt. The staging was very interesting, especially towards the end. But this was a big shock. I did expect this to get at least 100 points from the public, if not more, and it didn't. In 11th then, and my personal biggest heartbreak, with 196 points, it's Finland, Erika Vikman with Ich komme. I don't know what happened here. This was hyped up immensely by myself, by other fans, by lots of critics, by lots of reviewers, even some general audiences as well. This was tipped to be, again, an easy top 10, maybe even a top 5, maybe even a winner. And somehow we've ended up with this song finishing in 11th place. Let's break it down. We've got 88 points coming in from the jury and 108 from the public. Now, the juries, I didn't expect them to overwhelmingly give Erika a lot of points, but he did manage to give some big ones here. From the jury, we got 10 from Armenia, there's 10 from Estonia, 10 from Latvia, but 12, the maximum 12 from Austria. And that makes me really happy that Erika did get a 12 from the jury. I mean, performance unmatched, brilliant. Now, the public, 108. Let's see here. We didn't get, from what I can see, any 12s, which is a bit shocking, but we did get quite a few 10s. There's a 10 from Australia, 10 from Sweden, 10 from Estonia. But I think people expected this to clean up with the public. I'm talking like over 300 votes. As to whether or not why it didn't, I think, again, sadly, this might be a case of the ESC bubble not aligning with the general crowd. Again, I talk to people like my parents and other viewers who are more general fans. They only tune in for the final. They don't consume any other ESC media. They don't listen to the songs beforehand. They just watch the final. And a lot of those people were saying they didn't really get the hype. They appreciated it was a decent performance, but for them, it wasn't anywhere near their favorite. To them, it didn't stand out too well. So maybe us fans are a bit, self-absorbed in what we think might do really well at Eurovision. I do think after the results of the contest as a whole this year, I think we are going to reanalyze next year and maybe be wary of songs that are really hyped up by fans not doing as well, maybe taking the general audience into consideration. Don't get me wrong, just missing the top 10 is heartbreaking. Erika gave her everything, but I really wanted this to be top 10 at the very least, and I'm gutted that it's not. Moving swiftly into the top 10 then, we have the host nation, Switzerland, with 214 points. And when I tell you this was one of the biggest shocks of the night, oh goodness me, all 214 points came from the juries, not a single point from the public. That is astounding.
0 points.
To talk about this first, after the jury votes were all in, Switzerland was second. They were on the cusp of winning again, and no points from the public tanked them all the way down to 10th. It's mad. Looking at the points here, they got a few 12s. They got some 10s as well. 10s from Denmark, Netherlands, Portugal, Sweden, San Marino. And they got 3 12s, 1 from Estonia, 1 from Spain, and 1 from Poland. Zoe Me delivered a lovely performance, great vocal, and I did love the staging, the simplicity of it, panning out into the crowd, looking at all those phone lights going absolutely crazy. A beautiful effect, a beautiful impression, a beautiful impact. But for some reason with the public, it just didn't land. Again, the people I've talked to about this, some said they just found the song boring. Some said the fact that there wasn't much happening with like the camera work and stuff they found really boring. Some just said the vocal was pretty, but it didn't really connect, which is astonishing that it didn't even pick up a single point. That is genuinely astounding to me. I do hope, though, this doesn't discourage any country from submitting songs that are slower, a bit more atmospheric or ethereal, because they're absolutely important in the contest. And hey, that jury score alone was enough to take you into the top 10, so they clearly have a place, but something just wasn't connecting with the public. Are we really in TikTok generation brain now, where if something isn't changing every 3 seconds, we just don't like it? Because if that's the case, well, God help the future of this contest. Coming up in 9th then, 4 points higher, we have Ukraine, Zifablat's song, Bird of Prey. Now, I'll be fully transparent here. I did not particularly want this song to qualify. That's not any shade on Z for Black themselves. Just for me personally, after watching the semi-final rehearsals and the live show, I didn't think the vocals were all that there. The staging was cool, the camera work was cool, but the vocals, a really important part, just weren't it for me personally. It did qualify. Turns out it won its semi, but 9th place, another top 10 finish for Ukraine. They got 60 points from the jury, which I think is more than generous, but 158 from the public. As we know, Ukraine has a huge diaspora. Let's look at their jury scores here. They got, let's see, 6 from Georgia, 8 from Portugal, and they got 8 from Azerbaijan. That's about as high as it went there. From the public, things fared a lot better. They got an 8 from Cyprus, and 8 from the rest of the world. They also got 10 from Spain, 10 from Georgia, and then 10 from Portugal as well. Then 12s from Israel, Poland, and Czechia. So a really good score for them. Happy to see them in 9th. I think the band are great. I wouldn't have ranked them so highly. I would have put them on the right side of the board. Personally, just for me, personally, let's put your pitchforks down. But I think they'll be happy with another top 10 spot. Absolutely. Also scoring 218 points, but beating out Ukraine because of public votes is Albania. Albania have been loved this year. Their song Germ by Skodra Elektronik was absolutely loved by fans. I'm glad to see loved by a lot of the public as well. Criminally, this only scored 45 with the jury. And again, this makes me bear the question, what more can they do? They send a song that is really unique, rooted in like their heritage and their culture. Musically, it's very interesting. There's different components to it as well. Like, if you're judging based on uniqueness and stuff like that, how you can rank this so low, 45 points is beyond me. But the public did step in to provide a massive help. 173 there. But in terms of the jury, let's see how things went. They did manage to get a 10 from Montenegro, but their biggest support came from France, who gave them 12. Again, really happy to see them get a 12-pointer from the jury there. Public, as I mentioned, things fared a whole lot better. 8s from Germany, Slovenia, San Marino, a 10 from Switzerland, from Croatia, from the rest of the world, which was really encouraging to see. 10 from Italy, from France, and then 12s from the public, from the Greek public, and the Montenegrin public as well. So this is a phenomenal placing for Albania. This is their first top 10 finish since 2012, I believe. I know a lot of fans wanted this to do top 5 or even win. I was rooting for this to be top 5 at least as well. Hasn't happened, you know, c'est la vie, as Claude might say, hey ho, but 218 points, 8th place, that is an incredible finish for Albania. I hope this encourages them to go further and to keep pushing for those top finish places, because in this case, they absolutely deserved it. Coming up in 7th with 230 points, we have Le France. This was another big shock of the night. Now, whilst this song for me personally wasn't in my top 10, because of like the meaning of the song and with it being so personal, a lot of people being able to connect with it in theory, and the staging and Luan's presence as a singer and her fame already, a lot of people thought this would be top 5 or even win. The reality was it came 7th. Why is that? Well, the jury, it did very well. 180 points from the jury. I think that's 3rd it had it. But from the public, it only scored 50. Just 50. You can see Luan shocked by that. A lot of us were shocked by that as well.
From the public, 50 points.
Let's break it down. From the juries, predictably, a lot of high to top marks here. 8 from Czechia, Finland, Ireland, Malta, Spain, Switzerland as well. We've got 10 from Germany and Cyprus, and then 12s coming from the Albanian jury, the Serbian jury, the Greek jury, the Luxembourg jury, and the Armenian jury. A lot of top scores for France there. So why 50? Why didn't this do as well? I think a few reasons. The staging with the sand, there's a particular part of it, I think you know which part I mean, which looks like Luan is having some sort of issues, shall we say. Now, this is not her fault. How this was not picked up in any rehearsal by anybody and suggested to change is beyond me. It totally has the potential to take you out of the song. Is it a bit immature? Yes. Graham Norton did not help things with that commentary, by the way.
Really great staging, but there is a bit about 2/3 of the way through, and I'm sure you'll spot it, where it looks like poor Luan has had a sort of explosive digestive problem, which does slightly take you out of the beautiful song.
A lot of people found it a bit over the top. I think with a song so personal like this, had she done more what Zoe Me did and just sort of stood and sang and not done very much, this might have actually resonated with the public better, possibly. As it stands, only 50 points, a massive shock, a massive disappointment, I think, for a lot of the fans of this song. I mean, France in the top 10 yet again, but I think they and the public still expected to be at least top 5, so back to the drawing board, I guess. Please don't send a ballad next year. Change it up a bit, send something different. Coming up in 6th place then, beating France by just 1 point, is Greece, Claudia, with Asteromarta. This song was an absolute grower on me, absolutely, and Claudia smashed it in both rehearsals, the live show, and the final. She knocked it out of the park, blew everybody away with that vocal, that staging, and I think 6th is higher than a lot of people would have initially maybe predicted. She got 105 from the jury, 126 from the public. She's actually one of the more consistent acts this year when it comes to jury and public score. Looking at the jury, she got a 10 from Malta, but the 12s were rolling in. She got 12 from Montenegro, she got a 12 from Australia, 12 from Israel, and 12 from Cyprus as well. But the public benefited her even more. A lot of high marks there. 8 from Armenia and 8 from Serbia as well. We've got 10s from Luxembourg, from Germany, but then the 12s, baby. The 12s came in from San Marino, from Albania, and from Cyprus. 7 points from the rest of the world as well. Always nice to see. This song clearly connected with people in a way that, say, France's entry didn't. Can't explain that. You know, it's up to the public to decide that. But again, for the casual viewers I chatted with, they adored Claudia's voice. They adored the staging. They said they felt the emotion of the performance from what was going on. I'm just really happy for Greece. A top 10 result for them is wonderful. Again, keep sending songs in Greek. Keep sending songs like this that are a bit different, that can be very powerful on stage. Props to Claudia. Well done. You were way low in my ranking at the start of the season. You've soared. As to what place you actually occupy, you're going to have to tune in the video that's coming for that. In 5th place then, with the top 5, we have Italy, Lucio Corsi with Volevo essere un duro. I said from the beginning that this was going to be the dark horse, and by God, it was. This had 159 from the jury, 97 from the public. I believe this was 4th, was it, when the jury votes were all in? When this song, because it is so different, it's very simple, very stripped back, it feels very classic, very familiar, very nostalgic, you could say, but I knew this would have an appeal, you know, certainly with the jury, if not the public to some extent. So the public gifted 97, the most public points coming from Serbia, who gave the song 12, the maximum 12, but it was the jury, like I say, that really helped benefit this song. We had 8s from Denmark, for 8s from the Polish jury, 8s from the Ukrainian jury. In terms of 10s, we've got 10s coming in from Azerbaijan. We have a 10 from Lithuania as well. But the 12s, man, they just wouldn't stop. We had a 12 from Georgia, 12 from San Marino, probably unsurprisingly, a 12 from Croatia, from Switzerland, from Portugal, from Serbia giving them the double 12 on both fronts. This song, I think, because it stood out so much for being so simple, that's why it worked. People like a bit of a break from the madness. Lucio was consistent in his vocal. The live harmonica really did actually add an extra thing that I wasn't expecting, but it really did elevate the whole performance as well. The fact it was subtitled as well, I'll talk more about this in another video, but the fact it was subtitled, I think, helped make it connect as well with audiences who could understand English. I don't know if it was translated in any other subtitle, but English was the one obviously I saw. I'm just very happy for Lucio, man. Another top 5 finish for Italy. They are storming through Eurovision, as they seem to do almost every year. They can be really happy with that, and I hope this inspires other countries that you don't always need something bold, brash, or absolute crazy to stand out. Sometimes the simple songs work absolutely the best. In 4th position then, with 321, is Sweden. Kai and Barabarabastu, another big shock. These guys were in the odds to win pretty much ever since they were selected. Those odds remain consistently high, about like 40% all the way up until the final. And it didn't happen. 321 is still a phenomenal score, still a top 5 finish for Sweden again. They got 126 from the jury, which is a lot more than I thought. I didn't think they'd crack 100 with them, and 195 from the public. Sort of similar with Erica, a lot of people were predicting like 300 plus. We have 8s. We have an 8 from the Netherlands and an 8 from Estonia as well. 10s from the Norwegian jury, the Finnish jury, no great surprise there. A 10 from Switzerland as well. And they did manage to get one solitary 12 from the juries. That came from Iceland. That was nice to see Kai get a 12 in from the juries. The public obviously supported them a lot more with 195. They actually got points from a lot of public juries. They got 6 from the rest of the world. You can see that they got 8 from Latvia. They got 8 from Poland, also 8 from the Croatian public, 8 from the Australians. In terms of 10s, it mainly came from Iceland. Shame they didn't give them the double whammy. But the other Nords stepped in. Estonia gave them 12, and in terms of the Nordic countries, Norway gave them 12, Finland gave them 12, and Denmark gave them 12. This song has been absolutely everywhere. As to why it didn't do better, some have suggested that casual viewers were maybe a bit overexposed to it, a bit tired from it. Some have cited that the staging didn't change that dramatically from Melody Festivalen. Some have suggested that another certain song may have cleaned up more or resonated more, and we'll be talking about that pretty soon. But to be honest, for Kai, I'm just dead happy for him to finish 4th with a song in Swedish that, before it won Melody Festivalen, was touted not to do well at all. I hope this encourages Sweden that, yes, you can send stuff in your own language and you will do well. Into the top 3 then. So in 3rd place, 356 points, was Estonia. Tommy Cash and Espresso Macchiato. Now, this got 98 from the jury, which again is a lot more than I ever thought this song would get with the professional jury, so that's saying something. But the public came in strong here. 258 points, the second biggest public televote of the night. It managed to get a 10 from the Belgian jury, and it also managed to get a 10 from the Italian jury as well, which, considering this supposedly plays on Italian stereotypes, that's a big surprise. But of course, it's the public that came in strong for this song. Lots of high scores across the board. 10s from Montenegro, from Poland, from Lithuania, next door as well. But there was also 12s in there, unsurprisingly. You had a 12 from Latvia, from Armenia, from Malta, from Serbia, Croatia, and 2 points from the rest of the world, which is nice as well. So this song did really well. This arguably had more of a pull than Kai did. Why is that? I mean, Tommy Cash is known throughout Europe already. He was encouraging people to vote a lot on his social media. Espresso Macchiato, you could argue, is a funnier/sillier song than Kai's, maybe? Maybe it was because it was early on in the running order and you could vote from the minute the competition started. Maybe that helped it. Either way, this is Estonia's first top 3 finish, I believe, since they initially won back in 2001. So regardless, they'll be very happy to get a top 3 finish with this. Absolutely. And say what you will about Tommy, man. It was a fun performance. Fair enough. 3rd place. Why not? But it just missed out on 2nd place, because beating them by 1 solitary point, and hold on to your hats, it's Israel. Yuval Raphael, A New Day Will Rise. This song, for several reasons, is contentious, and I'll give more about my personal thoughts when I do the ranking video for this season. But this won the televote. It got 297 points from the public and then 60 from the jury. Now, already there are mass calls from various broadcasters and fans to the EBU saying they need to investigate the voting process because they believe this was manipulated in some way, shape, or form. I think the voting system as is isn't perfect. The fact you can use multiple credit cards to vote way more than 20 times, that does open the door to potential like block voting or organized voting or strategic voting in this way. I don't know for certain whether that's happened. I guess we'll wait and see what comes out of that. But this was a bit of a shock. And it almost gave Israel the contest, which I think would have absolutely meant the destruction of Eurovision from a practical and logical standpoint, because if you would have hosted it in Israel next year, assuming whatever's going on in the Middle East is still happening, it wouldn't have been safe for anybody. You'd like to think the EBU would have stepped in and said, look, you can't host this. You're going to have to let whoever's in second or another country host this on your behalf, sort of what the UK did with Ukraine in 2023. But also, I think, had they won, I genuinely think you would have seen broadcasters withdraw from next year's edition, particularly in the wake of the stuff that's coming out now that's happening over in the Middle East. Let's just have a look at the numbers for a sec. Again, jury-wise, this didn't do all that well. 60's about what I'd expect for it, really, for a song like this. It did manage to get a 7 from the Irish jury, it managed to get a 7 from the French jury, and it got the top marks from Azerbaijan. But obviously the public, this did a lot better, as said. So 12s came in thick and fast. They got 12s from Australia, from Belgium, from Switzerland, Spain, the UK, Portugal, Sweden, Luxembourg, Germany, the Netherlands, France, Azerbaijan, and indeed the rest of the world vote as well, which meant 357, beating Tommy Cash out by just 1 point. But this then led the leaderboard all the way up until the end. Many acts couldn't usurp them. Kai couldn't do it. Tommy Cash couldn't do it, which meant there was only one act left that could potentially score higher, and that was our eventual winner, Austria, who did, and they won with 436 points, providing a very definitive win. As to why, I mean, they were the overwhelming jury favourite. They won the jury vote with 258 points. And in the public, they scored really well as well, getting 178 points from the public, providing that very clear win. So looking at that definitive jury win, I mean, looking at the blue numbers on screen here, you can see the 12s are abundant. They got 12 from Sweden, from Norway, they got it from Belgium, from the Netherlands, from Ireland, from Latvia, from Germany, and from Finland as well. Overwhelmingly winning the jury vote there. But again, in the public, they did well. But it is interesting to note they did not score a 12 from the public in any country. That is quite interesting, really, that the winning country didn't get a 12 from the public. It did get a fair amount of 10s, though. It got 10 from Azerbaijan. It got a 10 from Malta. It got a 10 from Serbia, from Greece, and from Slovenia as well. But it clearly was enough, and they were the definitive winner. Now, I think we can all agree when this happened, the fans, the EBU as well, probably breathed a big collective sigh of relief. The fact that Austria won and beat Israel out in this case, like I said, I think had Israel won, next year's contest, the 70th anniversary of the contest, would have been very different. I genuinely think you would have seen a lot of broadcasters withdraw. I think security concerns would have put the contest outside of Israel and on behalf of another country. Say had Austria come second, it could have been there, or if Estonia had done it, maybe there as well on their behalf. Whether or not they'd want to do that, that's another question that had to be considered. But I think, and I know other creators have said this as well, no one this year expected Israel's song to place second, not by a long shot. There are discussions happening with the EBU at the moment. I think they're only going to continue, as I think they should. Some people have said with Austria winning, we avoided quite the swerve. I think we avoided a potential end to Eurovision sooner than a lot of us would have maybe expected. But those are the results. I do have more videos planned. Like I've been saying, I am going to do my full personal ranking of this Eurovision season. That's going to be coming soon. Keep your eyes open for our little vlog trip video where we went to Basel. Me and Becca, we got footage whilst we were out there as well, including when we were at the dress rehearsal for the semi-finals. I might also do a little video looking at the points of the nations that didn't quite make it, the 11 nations who failed to qualify. That might be interesting to do. So lots of stuff coming for this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it. It really helps us out. We're only trying to grow ESC Adam further and further, so please help us do that by liking, by commenting your thoughts, and subscribing as well. In the meantime, I've been Adam from ESC Adam, naturally, and I'll see you in the next one.